Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this video. My name is Caleb Rothy, and I'm the Percussion Education Coordinator for WGI. And I'm joined tonight by a couple of great colleagues, and we're excited to talk with you about the 2022 virtual season offerings from WGI. So with me tonight is Carl.
I'm Carl Lowe. I'm a color guard education coordinator. Thank you, Caleb, for making this happen tonight. It's awesome.
Absolutely. This is going to be a great conversation. And also, Wayne is with us tonight.
Hi, everybody. Wayne Markworth. I'm the director of WGI Wins, and I'm happy to be here.
So what we're going to be talking about in this video is the virtual event offerings from WGI for the 2022 season. And we wanted to share with you some of the things that are going to be a little bit different this year. And if you decide to participate in these types of events, the kinds of things that you can look forward to as that season progresses. So we want to take you back a little bit to the 2021 season when all three divisions, percussion, color guard, winds, all jumped into this and tried to come up with some virtual offerings for all of our ensembles. And we ended up coming up with three pretty different offerings to meet the needs of our ensembles. So going into this season, one of the things that everybody had been talking about is what can we do to try to improve upon this experience from 2021? So as we go through the virtual events for this season, I want to start by sharing with you some of the objectives. All of the directors of the three divisions got together and tried to plot out what can we do to kind of unify the approach a bit this year. So we'll share with you a couple of details in terms of what the objectives were for this year. First objective was to unify the virtual offerings for all three divisions of WGI. In addition to that, one of the things that we want to do this year is to make sure that we're offering a virtual WGI experience, maybe for the ensembles that cannot attend in-person events this year. I know all three of us are very excited about the return to in-person WGI events, but not all ensembles may be able to participate in that. So we wanted to be able to give a virtual outlet that will still allow ensembles to receive a WGI type experience. In addition to that, we wanted to improve upon the 2021 virtual events. And we also wanted to try to keep things simple. What can we do to keep the system simple, easy to understand, so that it's a great experience for everybody? So as we started looking at these objectives for 2022, we started to kind of talk about what the intent of these virtual events would be. Because as I said, in 2022, we're going to be back to in-person events, WGI Regionals, WGI World Championships. But I know a lot of people really enjoyed the virtual events from last year, and it provided a great outlet for some groups. So the intent for the virtual events this year are to market these offerings primarily to ensembles who may have limited resources this year and or have continued travel restrictions. So if you can't travel to a WGI Regional or to WGI World Championships, these virtual events would be a great outlet to allow your ensembles to participate. We also wanted to see what we could do to expand the educational feedback available for interested ensembles. So even if you're participating in in-person events, if you're looking for some additional educational feedback, also doing virtual events might be a great way to get additional feedback for your ensemble. And finally, for the ensembles that are not attending the in-person WGI World Championships, these virtual events give them an opportunity to compete and participate. So those are the three things, and those are the three components that are part of the intent for our virtual events for this year. So you're probably wondering, what will the virtual season and the virtual events look like this year? And let's go ahead and get started with classification for all of that. So for all of these virtual events this year, the classes that we're going to offer, you'll notice here, are very similar to the ones that will be at in-person events. You'll see open and world for both scholastic and independent. You'll also see a junior class offering for scholastic ensembles, as well as regional A classes for both scholastic and independent. In addition to these more traditional classes, there will be two types of classes that are offered in only virtual events. So these are virtual exclusive, and that will be solo events for both scholastic and independent performers, as well as our e-showcase classification that we had last year for the 2021 events. So what we're going to do next is we're going to talk with you a little bit about the evaluation system that's going to be used for these 2022 virtual events. And one of the things, as I mentioned before, is an attempt to try to unify these efforts across all three divisions. And for this, I'm going to turn it over to Wayne to talk to you a little bit about the evaluation system.
Thank you, Caleb. So although the sheets are different, of course, in each of the three divisions, the whole system is as unified as possible. All ensembles will receive assessments along with commentary from a two-judge system. All sheets in all divisions will have two subcaptions. Each subcaption is assigned a numerical assessment corresponding to the box the adjudicator assigns based on their performance. And we unified that to make this real obvious. Box 1 equals 1, box 2 equals 2, and so forth, 3, 4, and 5. The goals of the whole evaluation system, everyone in our activity can relate to the concepts of boxes for evaluation. The percentages assigned to each box are consistent across all classes in all divisions. Class expectations will be applied to all assessments and commentary using the class descriptors. How the assessments will work. Adjudicators will use the same guidelines for arriving at assessments for subcaption. Adjudicators will provide commentary based on class expectations and assign a score for each subcaption through caption scoring, 0 to 100 points. That's subcaption. Now, I might mention that's for judges' use only. That will not be announced or part of the public assigning of rankings and ratings. Those subcaption scores will be assigned a rating number of 1 to 5, aligning with 5 boxes. The two judges, each with 2 subcaptions, can arrive at a maximum assessment of 20. The assessments will be posted after each event. I'm going to turn it over to Carl.
Awesome. Thanks, Wayne. I appreciate it. So participation and advancement, I think if you looked at some of the earlier screens that Caleb was talking about, you notice that different needs can fit into this in a pretty broad sense. And so because of that, there's 2 opportunities, 2 preliminary events. And any ensemble can register for one or both of those preliminary events. And I was super excited when Caleb was mentioning that even groups that are attending live events can still participate here, because it's a great way to get some feedback from our WGI certified judges. And we, just like units, a lot of our judging community also is not able to travel this year. And so some of the best minds are going to be participating in this virtual event. And so it gives a great opportunity for some really excellent seasoned feedback. And then our last point is, if an ensemble attends both events and advances in the first virtual prelims event, they will not be considered for the second round of advancement. This is the same as last year in 2021, and it's easy to see why. This way we can accept more people to participate into finals. Very exciting. And then this advancement, from the 2, just like last year, from the 2 preliminary events, they will both then feed into and progress into the virtual finals event. The top 10 assessments in each class at each event will advance to the virtual finals event. And it's important to know that through this technique of assessments, that you're not ranked, as you were told earlier with Wayne, but you're actually put into neighborhoods. So if you accept that the likelihood of multiple groups being placed with the same assessment, then it carries you into the next point. Our last point is that if the 10th highest assessment is in a tie with other ensembles, which is likely, because remember, we're not talking about an individual score or a ranking, but we're talking about neighborhoods that are defined by these assessments. Those other ensembles with that same assessment as the 10th highest assessment would also advance to the virtual finals event. And if you remember that from each of these events, we take the top 10, the likelihood then of there being more than 20 units in finals is pretty high if you consider that we're advancing neighborhoods as well as individual units. And here's the rules. These are really reduced down to their most essential. Caleb is going to give you a great way to do a little further research and to dig a little deeper and to find some more detailed information, but this is what you need to know initially. If an ensemble is entered for the in-person WGI World Championship, the ensemble will only receive commentary and will not be considered for the assessment process we talked about or advancement in that virtual final event. And I'm going to repeat myself and point back that some of our best judges are going to be manning these virtual contests. All ensembles must enter the class that they're registered for in their local circuit or WGI regional competition. This is the exact same as last year. And you see this happen in our regular season as well. So you're used to that rule. And these next two come hand in hand. And so I'm going to sit and talk about them just for a little bit. The assessment results from both preliminary events will be posted on WGI.org. Here's what's important. No ordinals or scores, that's rankings or ultimate ratings, will be posted from the preliminary events. It will be the assessments, which is a cousin of the rating and is a product of the process that Wayne laid out earlier. Now, as for finals, the virtual finals event will announce and post the ranking of the virtual finals ensembles in each class. No scores, no assessments, if you will be announced or posted. The thing that's really kind of elegant and symmetrical to what we do with our live events is that for a local regional contest, judges are instructed as far as priorities go in a preliminary event to make sure that the right groups progress to finals. And then in the finals event is to make sure that all those groups that are in finals are placed in the correct order. And this is a beautiful illustration for how that happens naturally and just carried into the virtual system, perhaps a little bit more elegantly than it is in our live shows.
So we know after receiving all this kind of preliminary information, you probably have additional questions and want to dig a little bit deeper, as Carl was mentioning before. So we've got a great hub that the team at WGI is putting together for you. And you can go to this website, wgi.org/2022-WGI-virtual-events. And that is the same thing that you would find if you just went to the WGI website looking for the virtual events. All of the resources for this are going to be housed there. So you'll be able to find additional frequently asked questions and registration information and all sorts of things that'll hopefully answer any additional questions that you have. Hopefully this video has given you a little bit of insight into the broad strokes and the general approach that WGI is taking with virtual events in 2022. And you can head there for additional details if this is something that is of interest to you and your ensemble and something you think you might be participating in. We also wanted to share with you, if you have any additional questions, a great place to reach out to is to the division directors for each one of the divisions. So if you've got additional color guard questions for the virtual events, you can reach out to Dale Powers. You can direct percussion questions to Mark Thurston, and you can direct winds questions to Wayne Markworth if you've got any other nuts and bolts that you want to follow up with them about. So that is the general approach that we are taking to the WGI 2022 virtual events. We're really excited about this approach. I love that it's going to be even more unified than we were in 2021, and really want to thank all of the division directors for their hard work on this and detailing out a lot of things that I think are going to be great for all of our participating ensembles. And I know for myself, I'm excited about the return of in-person events for all of our students and our participating ensembles. And I love that we're able to maintain the virtual events as well and keep that momentum going, because I think it's two great outlets that allow you to get a great WGI experience, no matter what your particular situation for your ensemble might be this year. All right, Wayne and Carl, thank you so much. This was great to be able to get together and talk about kind of the unified approach for this year. So I want to thank you gentlemen both very much.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.